right. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to the second to last session. I won't say this is the final session because there's still a session after this by Jack Chu. So please make sure to stay onto that one. I'll give it a minute so everyone joins. Thank you all. As you've seen me before, I am Farouk, one of the team members here at Physio Matters. So we're letting people trickle in before we go because we have the boss giving an outstanding, I'm setting it very, very high, an outstanding presentation for us here with over the next 30 minutes. Similar format to those, if you've been to the other ones, 30 minutes. And then at the last 15 minutes, please use the Q&A function if you have any questions. Also, I'll put a poll towards the end, please. If you can try and answer as honestly as you can, that would be much appreciated. So we got 43 now. I think, but before we start, I will give a shout out to our sponsor, who is all of our sponsors that you've seen today. Actually, our sponsor is PhysiQuip. PhysiQuip, which are new partners in technology, including incredible devices such as diagnostic ultrasound as well as shockwave. So you might see their banner slide across. Check them out so you can see if they're available around you and what devices are available to you specifically. Oh, yes. Actually, more people joined in the last minute that I started talking. But yes, we're about to start the webinar. We got Jack Chu, Jack Mar, the rheumatology physio, giving us his presentation. So I will disappear and then reappear in the last 30 minutes to allow enough time. More people are still trickling in, Jack. I think you got an audience. I think you sold yourself short. But nevertheless, take care, everyone. And I'll see you in 30 minutes.
Thank you, Farouk. That's an absolute pleasure. Very nice introduction. Welcome, everybody. Good evening. Anybody that was watching the recording, it's probably not evening for you. Shona's saying hi from Dumbarton. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me. It's the last session. People call this the graveyard shift, but actually, I think this is one of the most popular times to do a webinar. But anyway, let's get on to talking this. So I'm going to talk about radicular spinal symptoms or spondyloarthritis. Now, this talk came about because in very quick succession, I was running a course and one of the course attendees was asking about a patient who had been treated in their clinic for a period of time and then went to see rheumatology unbeknownst to that physiotherapist and was diagnosed with spondyloarthritis. So the conversation started on, can radicular spinal symptoms be caused by spondyloarthritis? And it developed into actually were the original spinal symptoms misdiagnosed and it was actually spondyloarthritis. And then very quickly after that, I saw a patient in my clinic where almost exactly the same thing had happened, but in reverse. So they were being referred into rheumatology for what was suspected to be spondyloarthritis, and rheumatology decided or diagnosed them with actually radicular spinal pain. So very, very quickly, that happened within the space of 3 days. And so I thought, that's an idea for a presentation. I shall put that together. And so here is said presentation. So the first thing I thought is, if I write this on a slide, differentiating radicular spinal symptoms from spondyloarthritis, then people are going to pick up the phone and they're going to yell down the phone at me that they can already tell the difference between radicular spinal symptoms. I'm probably going to slip into using sciatica because it's a shorter version of doing that. And they can tell the difference between those. And then I thought, well, if you can tell the difference between those and you're very confident in that, then maybe you won't turn up to my talk to listen to. So maybe there is some information to impart here. But anyway, I still think that there is definitely some overlaps where it can be more difficult than some people maybe certainly earlier in their careers or who have seen more of one type of condition versus the other. Then maybe there is a lot more overlap than you might sort of initially think. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. The other thing I think here is when people think about ridiculous spinal symptoms, they will think about something like sciatica, and they think about quite specific, you might get pins and needles, you get neurological deficits, for example, and that's quite clearly radicular from the spine or similar. And so then they think about spondyloarthritis being this chronic problem, causing lots of spinal stiffness and those kind of things. And I think if you, as I've put on the left-hand side of the slides here, it's easier to tell the difference earlier in the disease courses. Specifically, it would be easier to pick up radicular spinal symptoms early on in the presentation compared to something like spondyloarthritis. And it's certainly easier if you've got a very classical presentation of either of the diseases. Okay. However, it becomes more difficult if you wait, if the patient waits, or it's later down the line, or they've seen multiple clinicians, or for whatever reason, it takes longer to get to